Welcome to the Vulnerable Room. Hey y'all, and welcome on back to another episode of the Vulnerable Room podcast. I have a special guest joining me to discuss a lighthearted yet fun topic today. Janice is a content creator and goes by the name of Barb Meets World for her target audience. She is a self-proclaimed, multi-hyphenated Black Barbie, and her brand mission is to celebrate and showcase all things feminine, fashionable, beautiful, and positive. Through her social media channels, she has dedicated herself to educating the public about her brand and increasing her relevancy within the fashion, beauty, and entertainment industries. She is a Gemini born and raised in New Jersey and has been residing in San Diego for over 7 years. In addition to being a fashion and beauty influencer, she is also a Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur, pop culture content creator, and a multi-state licensed cosmetologist. She has a BS in business administration with concentration in entrepreneurship and an MS in marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, I now introduce to you Barb Meets World. Hey girl, how you doing?
Hi, how are you doing? Hey everybody.
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. I'm finally happy we have you on. I know we've been talking about about collaborating for a minute, and I figured this would be the perfect topic to talk about. Um, Guys, if you do not know, Barb Meets World, she is an influencer and a content creator. You could check out her YouTube channel, and she does I would say like commentary and reviews on all of the reality TV shows that we like, the popular ones like Potomac, Real Housewives of Atlanta, things of that nature. You've done Married to Medicine too,
Yes,
correct?
yes. This previous season was my first time,
I
and
think you should do more. They were great.
yes, I will do the next season of Married. Yes.
So, what are your thoughts on Real Housewives of Potomac season 8?
What are my thoughts on season 8? I went into it with an open mind. I was hoping for the best and whatnot. I was excited to see the new addition to the show and everything, but I want to say by episode 2, honestly, I was like, wow, I see where we're going.
Okay.
I always try to start off new seasons with a clean slate, but you just can't
Yeah,
do that with every franchise.
I agree with you. It was very dry this season.
Yeah,
It
it
didn't
was.
get spicy until the end.
Yeah, and even when it did get spicy, I feel like it didn't get spicy in the right ways. It
Yes.
just totally missed the mark with season 8.
Do you think Andy is over Robin and Juan's nonsense?
Although I don't always agree with the things that Andy does, says, all that, I will say I do believe that he is over the Robin Juan Dixon saga of it all. And I feel like we saw a bit of that. I'm not sure if you caught the Watch What Happens Live,
No.
the one
Fill
that
us
she
in,
did
girl.
after everything came out in the blogs and everything, once season 7 had wrapped and everything was brought to light with the Canada girl and all those rumors and stuff. Well, she was brought on to Watch What Happens Live to, I guess, address that.
The
And I just,
girl?
no,
Oh.
no,
Woo,
no, no.
I was about to say they are besties.
It was Andy, Robin, and I can't remember who the other person was.
Okay.
But I just feel like the way that his line of questioning and his energy towards her, I feel like I can almost give him like a quarter of a cookie
Okay.
for how he chose to address her about all of that, because it's like, girl, we've given you numerous chances to redeem yourself and
Exactly.
just continue not to do it, so you shouldn't be surprised that you are now unemployed.
Ooh. Okay. And I also feel as though she has to defend her husband so much. Most of the season, these past few seasons, she's been she's just been defending him nonstop. He couldn't even show up to the reunion. I'm like, you're giving people ammo to talk more, like more crap about you and your husband's situation.
Yeah, and she tries to act like she doesn't care, but trust me,
Yeah,
Robin did. She cares. She
she's scared.
definitely
Like she
cares.
cares.
And we I even heard last year at BravoCon when Karen got her together up on that stage that
Ooh,
she was boohooing in the back. So she definitely cares. And I feel like this is just a big dose of karma for her because she's almost like trolling us, I feel like,
yes.
as viewers. Like you're saying, oh, I 100% don't care. I'm just not going to show up and show out. I'm just going to keep all of my stuff close to the chest whilst probing everybody else continuously about what they have going on because she likes to do that. We can go back.
Ashley's divorce,
We can go
Candace's
back to
situation. Hmm.
Ray, Ray and Karen and Blue Eyes. Like she's always probing everybody else about their stuff
Yes.
while there's stuff going on in the background of her life. That's my biggest issue with Robin.
Yeah. I honestly used to like her in the earlier
Because she
season.
seemed laid back. She seemed
Yes.
kind of chill. Um, yeah, she wasn't as bad until she started to be bad.
Yeah. Until they were like they became the green eyed bandits and they just ran with
Yeah,
that tag and it's just like
yeah, a
girl.
a hundred
We
percent.
like, she acts like to me sometimes she could come across like a bully. She antagonizes. But we're gonna get into that. Why is Candace longing to be friends with Robin again, especially when she's enemies with Giselle? It don't make sense.
It doesn't, and honestly, that's something I'm still trying to figure out myself because there were so many times in the season that I was just like, girl, like just like take off the friendly kid gloves. Like we need to just leave her in the dust. But
Right.
I'm assuming at this point that there's something that we didn't see off camera that they maybe, I guess they did have a friendship off camera that we didn't see. And really, I'm just saying, I'm only saying that because right now, Candace gets my utmost respect. I don't want to insult her or insult her intelligence or her judgment, I guess, by
Okay.
saying that they didn't have a friendship. If she says that they did, all right, Candace, I'm trusting you. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
Robin, but I will trust you on that. And I feel like again, it also plays into Candace just having I don't want to say too big of a heart, but
Yes.
it took her a long time to see both Giselle and Robin and I won't say Ashley, but definitely Giselle and Robin. It took her a very long time to see that she was the one that they were actually trying to ice
Yeah.
out all along. And we could take this back to season 5. When Monique was on there, they were really gunning for Candace as well. But
Yeah.
okay, let's hook the biggest fish right now. And the biggest fish at that time was Monique.
I miss me some Monique. I'm not even gonna lie. I
Ah,
liked her.
you watch her on Love and Marriage DC?
Okay, I was trying to refrain from bringing that up because that made me see a different side of her, and I was like, okay, now I can see why the ladies had an issue with you. But on Potomac, it was portrayed like she was the newbie in the group, and remember off rip, she had like a argument with Robin. Her and Robin were like
Yep,
basically
with the umbrella.
2 seconds away
Umbrella.
from kiss. Yes, 2 seconds away from kissing, and I'm like, why are they ganging up on my girl? So I
Which was
loved, like, when she came to the reunion with the receipt book, not receipts, the
that's
receipt binder.
historical. That's a historical housewives moment.
Yes. And on Love and Marriage DC, it was given narcissist, and I didn't like that.
I just more so was. annoyed with her a bit because it was clear that the stuff that people were seeing, and I just wanted her to stop taking up for Chris if that was the case. If he had his deficiencies and you were over those deficiencies, instead of trying to act like it, trying to downplay it, I feel like she should have just been more real with it.
Absolutely.
I'm still kind of indifferent on Monique. I don't hate her by any means, but she's never been a favorite of mine. I
Okay.
hated seeing her. I will say I hated seeing that happen between her and Candace. I wish that never happened. I wish she didn't have to have had made an exit when that all occurred. Like, that's
Yeah.
not the last of what I wanted to see from her on this franchise, but unfortunately we can't go back in history and
Yeah.
change.
And if you want to be technical, the reason why that whole situation went down the way that it did, well, escalated, is because
Mhm.
apparently Giselle was pushing.
Monique's shoulder, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it got popping after
You
that.
know, this girl is from Atlantic City. Like, why? She's in the spur of the moment. All she probably see is red. She's going back and forth with Candace. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Giselle, and I didn't even notice that until they did a slow mo. You
Yep.
see Giselle like basically push not Candace, Monique, excuse me. And
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, yet again. Here Giselle is always quick to point the finger at somebody, saying it's their fault, they're accountable for their actions. I understand she was trying to diffuse the situation, but you actually escalated it.
Oh yeah, very much so, and that's what I mean when I say it's super unfortunate that it came down to that, because it was very clear once you did watch it back, once you did kind of start to put the pieces together, that
Absolutely.
really behind it, and who Giselle didn't see it from Monique ever since she came on there and told her that she had 5 homes. She was like done with her right then and there, and from there
Hater.
we progressed and progressed and progressed, and
Yeah,
there you had it.
I agree. Do you think Robin's reaction towards the colorism topic was dismissive towards Candace during the reunion?
Dismissive, baloney, BS, malarkey, like whatever, foolishness, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it was very much that, because taking it back all the way to season 1, color, race, all that has always been a topic of conversation on this show. And we can
Okay.
go back to when Katie Ross was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
For some odd reason, it's only a sour subject to talk about when it's not benefiting Robin and Giselle,
Of
because they
course.
were spearheading that conversation back then, and talking about Jackson 5 afros and all types of
I forgot about that.
back then. So if we really want to get real, you trying to act like you feel so uncomfortable now that this is being brought up, and it was just so uncomfortable. I felt no type of way, and I feel like honestly she just tried to Karen her way out of that moment.
Okay. I agree. I did not feel, even though she was crying, I felt like those tears were forced.
They
I
were.
didn't
I didn't really see
feel,
tears. I just saw
yeah. And
oh.
Giselle rubbing her like it's okay. I did not feel bad. Like I know everybody on the other side of the couch, the Wendy's, the Candaces, um, they probably was sitting there like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you crying? You could have cried maybe the first well, season 7, I think, reunion when they initially brought up this topic. You could
Mhm.
have brought the tears then. But a whole season later, now you're talking about, oh, I've been receiving death threats and I don't feel safe and you know, it's just a lot has been going on since this whole colorism issue. Okay. Let's not pretend like it's not a thing.
Yes, and that's why I really enjoyed when Wendy said, like, okay, instead of talking about the phenomenon, like, or talking about how we got here or whatever, like, or talking about the phenomenon, we should talk about like why we feel the way we do about said phenomenon. I really enjoyed when Wendy said that. But for
You
some odd
need it.
reason, like, yes, and for some odd reason, we still can't get to the bottom of it. But and I also did appreciate when she said that no, they don't have the range to talk about it. And I see
Hmm.
Karen tried to play the peacemaker, play the bridge, the go between everybody, and say, oh,
Defense.
there's no better group of women on Bravo but us to talk about this. And I was so glad that Wendy spoke up in that moment and let it be known that no, that's not the case, because some of them up there are way too dense. And I feel like, honestly, for a lot of these conversations during this reunion, I honestly feel like it should have been a one-on-one conversation, or some of those women should have been excused off the stage, because I feel like the Mias, the Ashleys, Aneka still don't understand why she was there.
She don't even, child.
She was there, but
She got fired too.
yeah,
She needs to come back.
at
She
all,
needs to be on.
at all. But it just went to show that they just add no constructive value a lot of times to the conversations. They don't see the bigger picture there. So no,
No,
they don't have
let's
the reign to talk about it.
let's switch roles here. Last season, I think it was last season, when Mia threw the drink on Wendy. Now, if that was Wendy, if I threw the drink on Mia,
Oh, it would be no holds barred.
okay, thank you. Now, when Mia threw the drink on Wendy and Wendy was just sitting there unbothered,
Mm-hmm.
you had I think it was Giselle or Robin talking about, oh, look at her, she's so aggressive, like she's antagonizing her. How she's antagonizing someone when she just got a drink thrown on her?
Robin has, we already mentioned the whole umbrella, her and Monique. She's rolled up on Ashley before. Robin
Okay.
on jumping up, shouting, doing the most, I feel like, in a lot of situations. But for some odd reason, we never use those buzzwords around Robin. But as soon as Candace even chops them down with her words, not her hands, her words, it's, oh, like she's just such, she's so childish, and she's such
Yeah.
a nuisance, and she's the problem, and all this stuff. And I just don't understand. And that's why she said what she said earlier on in the season, which is the line is always moving when it comes to certain people on
And I
this.
agree.
And I'm so happy that a lot of people are starting to see that. And I really hope that everybody kind of just sticks to what they're saying right now and really holds the network accountable, because we've seen it
Absolutely.
so many different times in this. This was just like one big gaslight, like all three parts. Like
This particular franchise,
like it was crazy. Oh my. Mm,
it's a lot of underlying issues with colorism, with this whole I think it's Osu with the Nigerian culture. Like, this
mm.
is taboo, and you're bringing it to this platform to make a mockery out of it, to make drama out of it. I just
Ashley.
mm,
Ashley's in chaos, and she, for some odd reason, always is able to shift the focus or kind of not be present, because we saw that 2 times this season as well, where
absolutely.
when stuff got popping, she was right there, but she always tries to either act like she wasn't there or
I
act like she
know.
played like a part in stuff, and she really did. She
Yes.
had a big hand in both of the major incidents that occurred on this season, which was the fight, and yes, unfortunately, bringing up the whole Osu of it all. She brought that to light. I actually
Exactly.
I actually watched that back because I was like, wait, but hold on. I watched
She's
it
not
back.
even Nigerian.
She doesn't know anything about anything. And that's why I was so glad in part 3 where Wendy directed that question into her, because she's the one that brought it up. And instead of her actually being held accountable for how messy she is, somehow she's always able to get out of it. And we are over here shifting the blame onto the Candaces and Wendy's of it all.
Absolutely. And then we sit here and, well, the network wants to sit there and the cast wants to sit there like it's not a colorism issue, excuse me, but whatever.
I,
Um
I don't get it. And They also, they just the comments that they being the Robins and the Giselles have even made on their own podcast. I don't know if you ever, I don't listen to their podcast by any
I
means.
heard clips just recently talking about her exit, but I don't support that podcast.
No, I recall when they were talking about James Harden's beard, looking or smelling like it had fried chicken grease and watermelon in it, and you guys,
No, they didn't.
yes, they did. So like, let's really be real here about this color issue and these bigger issues, and you guys are the ones that are running around not saying that we can't have green eyes and blonde hair naturally as Black women. That's not what I'm saying at all, but you guys are going through the lengths to appear a certain way.
Hmm.
Like, let's be real here.
It's gonna catch up to them. Just you wait.
Unfortunately, I don't even know, and I was actually talking to one of my girlfriends about this the other day. By no means would I ever wish ill on anyone's children, but I heard through the grapevine that it's not even a matter of just Giselle reaping what she sowed in this instance. I've heard that unfortunately Grace has been catching some heat down at FAMU, allegedly. That's what I heard, and
Ooh, that's a HBCU. Okay. Yeah.
she should be very mindful of the things she puts out. But I think this is just who she is. She
She
just hasn't
doesn't
been
think
clear
before she.
about it, I feel.
Yeah. So I know you're into fashion.
I
And if you
am.
guys don't know, yes, definitely please go check her out on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. What do you think about Giselle's fashions styling this season? Do you think it has improved a little bit? Slightly?
I remember like, okay, I'm trying to think back to, I can't think of anything that I really liked. I know for sure I can recall when they were on the trip and she had, when they did the Havana Nights theme and she had on
Oh.
that her shapewear. I'm like, why is your shapewear underneath? I mean, she had that gold, like kind of chainmail esque,
Yes.
and she had the beige shapewear. I'm like, girl, I, I don't get it. But she relies on her face card. We've seen that for seasons and seasons. Going
Mm-hmm.
going on to her reunion look. Although I will say, and I said this in my own personal review of the reunion looks, that they all, as an ensemble cast, looked amazing. This is probably
I think
the
so
best
too.
that they have all looked on a season across the board. And that's with Giselle included. That's what Robin included. That's what everybody
I
included.
thought that Giselle looks phenomenal too.
She did, but then when you really look at it though, when we find out that the theme was supposed to be like art and all that,
Oh.
she just threw on a Versace dress that you could wear to, a cookout, that you could wear to do that you to Sephora in, to that you could go to a date night. Like you could go to, it's like it was just giving multi-purpose, not exactly
Okay.
reunion. We really dissect it, but will I give her also a quarter of a cookie for it? Sure.
Okay. I agree. I think that in my opinion, this has been the best.
Yeah.
Just as looked, I had nothing negative to say. I was shocked too. From her head to her toes. I was like, okay, the stylist did what they needed to do. You looked great. Robin looked great too. I did like the bob. I did like the dress.
Hmm.
Everyone looked A1. Even
Yeah.
Karen's haircut. I was like, okay,
Oh, Sarah
Karen.
looked the best in my opinion.
Me
Out
too.
of everybody, would I need one of those wigs actually. She looked phenomenal. So I'll give it to the girls as far as that. They were a delight to the eyes, I will say.
Yeah. Thoughts on Gordon opening up about his bipolar disorder?
Okay, so I've seen a lot of people kind of, and I understand 100% why certain people felt as though, could he be maybe not telling all the truth? Because
Okay, let's hear it.
being
Let's see.
100% honest, Mia, and I guess by proxy Gordon came on the show bending the truth and lying. Mia be lying. She really does, unfortunately. I feel like him on the show just trying to make so much of a splash and trying to like hit it out the park and really give it to us and all that she led with all these lies. So now that she has kind of solidified herself in the group, and she's kind of I guess I don't want to say she's 100% good to go and here to stay forever,
Okay.
but since she might feel a little bit more comfortable, like, she doesn't have to continue to prove herself. Now she's trying to, be the real her and try to, I guess, kind of clarify some things, but it's just only looking like she's just lying even more, because it's
Okay.
like, girl, you said whatever season she came on, that this wasn't the case, but now you're saying that like it's not matching up.
The math is not mathing. Yep.
So again, now that Gordon is saying this, some people did have issues and did kind of think like, okay, we sure like this is mighty coincidental. But for me personally, I never want to not believe someone when they're speaking about anything medical related, because I don't like how that feels to be done to me. I take those things very seriously. So I want to believe, and this is kind of what I was saying earlier about Candace, like I want to trust, that they're being 100% by it, because me being somebody that doesn't take that lightly, I would never just do that or say that and it's not the truth just for a check or whatever, or a wow factor, or to keep my spot on next season. But I won't lie, that last 15 minutes of the finale between them two,
Woo!
everything we needed to know. If y'all did not know before that, I'm here to tell you, Gordon is with the antics.
Okay.
As well, and they're not going to hold back. I will
Nope.
say
Mia made sure she secured her cherry blossom for next
he was
season.
down with it. He was clear. We see Ink is down with it too. I don't want to see him. I don't want to
I
see
don't
him.
want to see him either. He looks so corny to me, but I was shocked in those last 15 minutes. I could not believe. I was like, this is TV? Like, we're talking about your child?
Should have did.
Yes. Yes. And she would have secured her job for next season because they wanted her to open up more. But Mia is on some, all right, my son may not be Gordon's, it may be Ink's. I'm not in love with Gordon anymore. I want a divorce. I want to be with my high school. What is it? High school or college lover, whatever it is.
They've been together for 28 years.
Oh my gosh. I was just like, this is too much for TV. Like, your son could look back on this.
I didn't mean to say that. I was talking about Juan and Robin. They've been in the last 20 years. Mia and Gordon, that's a different story.
I'm like, whoa, okay.
For the child, that's something I'll never agree with either. You always have to safeguard your children in
Always.
these environments, and unfortunately, like that's something he's going to see one day. So I feel bad for the child in that instance, but I hope Gordon was being 100% real about that. And I honestly, I thought he was going to say that his cancer came back. That's why I was mentally preparing myself.
Oh.
So when he said that, I was kind of like, oh, okay, interesting.
Okay.
See that? I guess.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. Mm-hmm.
So I know we kind of touched on this a little earlier, but between Wendy and NECA, who do you think is at fault? And do you feel like that relationship can be not repaired, but they could get off on a good foot and try to build a rapport with each other?
Who is at fault? Aneka, by
Okay.
way of Ashley. And like, although she says that that wasn't her storyline and she had other things to talk about, like that's what she led with.
Mhm.
Because did you know that she has an app and a nonprofit?
No.
Exactly. So you came on
Uh,
trying to make a point, I feel like, and tried to, it really looked like you were just gunning for Wendy, honestly. And I feel like um Wendy, although they are from the same cultural background, Wendy doesn't owe, in my opinion, I'm not Nigerian. However, Wendy doesn't, in my opinion, owe her anything. If
yeah.
she didn't know that lady, she didn't know that lady. And from what I have deduced from the bits and pieces from this person, the Lebes, who is not a credible source in my opinion, it's looking like yes, you, Aneka, you felt some type of way because Wendy didn't say, "Oh yeah, bring her on in." Yeah,
Right.
that's my good sis. Like we are both Ibu, and bring her on in. Because, and I say that because I unfortunately subjected myself to watching Aneka's interview with the Shade Room.
Oh, she had
And
an interview?
yes, I got the notification yesterday, or I saw it come on my timeline yesterday, and I was just like, in the shade, like,
The
yeah.
shade
So
room.
I I subjected myself to watching that, and
Okay.
in said interview, she pretty much doubled down on the fact that if it was, this is someone's job at the end of the day. Although like these are people we watch on the TV and it's all, oh, it's cool, oh my gosh, they're on TV. Technically, yes, this is still a job for them. So me being somebody that takes my job seriously, I'm not going to just sign off on somebody coming in just because we're from the same cultural background. Like,
Right.
sorry, like some people might not agree with that, but I'm never going to say anything bad. I'm just going to say what Wendy said, which is I don't know her. Because
She
there's
doesn't know
different
her work ethic
knowing.
either.
You know them, you know of them, you've seen them in passing. Like there's so many different levels, and I feel like it was honestly on the network's fault as well, because Andy tried to, I guess, clarify things in that moment by saying like, oh well, sometimes we take that as that means you guys know each
No,
other, or no, that's y'all's assumption, so that's
exactly.
on you. But I just feel like she completely felt some type of way because, and again, in that interview, she was like, oh yeah, if that was somebody, if that was another Nigerian, and they were trying to get in my job at the law firm or whatever, then I would say, yeah, come on,
No,
come in.
you don't know their work ethic. You can't
I would
just,
co-sign for them. I'm
yeah.
like that. I've seen that go sour a lot of times with people that people actually do know. So no, I'm not just gonna give my hominis dominus on somebody who I don't know from a can of paint just because we come from the same cultural background.
Yeah, no. I agree. That's
And
like saying,
the stuff she said about her mom, that's
oh,
unforgivable.
yeah,
We just want to glaze
cultural.
past all that. Every time Wendy addressed her, I feel like she, at that pickleball event or whatever, when she was like, I'm talking to you, and called her out of her name, and just the
Oh,
bit
yeah.
behind the words was very odd. And her husband, he also was with the antics, I feel, because he had a lot of heat for Eddie over
For no
a
reason.
Facebook friend unfriend.
Yeah.
Serious?
Like these, like they don't owe you anything.
No.
Owe you anything.
She,
Um,
she
but, but on a brighter note, can we get into, I don't know if I'm saying her name right,
Kiarna.
Kiana, can we get into her look at the reunion? How do you
I
feel?
I loved it. It was giving very much 90s
Yeah.
Chanel. I could definitely see that on Naomi back in the days. And I that's my favorite type of Chanel period. So I was here for it. I immediately understood what she was getting at. I actually
The
DM'd
hair.
I wrote back to her story or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, you look so cute, oh my god, da, da, da. I was like, I don't know if this is always your aesthetic you're going for, but like I love it. And she was like, no, this is just kind of what I've been leaning towards lately, you know, it's just, I just like to have fun with how I dress and stuff. And I was like, oh, like I totally get that, you should
I
be having
love her spirit. She has such a nice spirit.
good. I won't say what I'm about to say because I'm pretty sure you're probably going to ask that question, but I do like her energy. I do.
I do too. Do you think that they should bring her on full time? Like she should get a cherry blossom next season?
So yeah, I would love for her to get a cherry blossom, but also when we were also DMing, because I had actually extended an interview, or I had asked her if she would like to do an interview as well because I really enjoyed her energy, and she didn't get back to me, which is, I'm not trying to call her out, nothing like that. I just say that to say I feel like she probably wouldn't want to do an interview or probably isn't really thinking about the show like that because of how it ended and because of she is a businesswoman. She has her own brand. She does the thing as far as, you know, in the beauty and wellness and all of that. So I feel like she's probably over it right now. That's not to say that they won't extend the opportunity to her. I mean, I hope they do because she has the makings of what we like to see. She has good energy about it. She offers fun shade. We saw that in this part of the
I
reunion.
wasn't expecting that.
I was based on the confessionals and stuff. She just, I really, really enjoyed her. And I'm at least grateful that we were able to get a glimpse of her on our screens. I prefer her more than I prefer Charisse. That's for sure.
Oh, Shay Shay, I can't. I'm tired.
I, I'm good on that. So hopefully we do see her again on our screens. But if not, I understand why.
Okay. Yeah, I love the shade that she gave to Ashley and the shade that she gave to Giselle. Uh,
Oh, warms the
I know
heart.
Giselle was not expecting that, but I think in that moment, she realized that Giselle was very strategic on that trip when she was like, oh, why didn't your friends come check in on you and blah, blah, blah. But then I understood, like, her father passed away, Giselle's father passed away, but she reached out to you to send her condolences and, excuse me, her regards. And then Giselle gonna turn around and say, in that moment, no shade, but I wasn't thinking about you. You have to be nasty about it. And that's why she got hit with the shade.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that. Although, yes, I do understand it might not have been at the forefront of your mind when you're dealing, you know, with a gravely ill parent. However, Giselle had enough, she was able to bring it to the forefront of her mind to be angry and to blame Wendy and and Candace and Kiarna and Deborah. She was able to channel her energy into forming an opinion about who was at fault. So clearly something about it was on your mind, but that just goes to show, yes, that it was a very strategic move on Giselle's part. Unfortunately, it
Absolutely.
took that for Kiarna to see her for who she was, but I think her eyes are completely open now. And I'm not sure if you saw the extended uncensored version, the Peacock version of the reunion, but when Kiarna had said that, uh, both Candace and Wendy said in unison, they were like, "Yeah, strategic. We told you so." Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. That that whole thing, like you said, it was just strategic, and unfortunately, it took that situation for her to realize, oh, Giselle, you playing in my face. You're not really checking for me. You're really not trying to build a relationship with me. So, whatever. But like you said, her eyes are open, and I'm glad they are because mm, Giselle's very funny style. But moving on to the highlight of the final episode, the finale, do you believe that Ashley set up that brawl at, what is it, GNA's launch? Sheba Sheree.
Me personally, I just found it mighty coincidental that right before all of that was going to transpire, Ashley was heard because the ladies were still mic'd. Although cameras were down, the ladies were still mic'd. We heard Ashley go, "Are the cameras down yet?" And if you guys have been watching for the last 8 seasons, we know that things with Ashley, she is an agent of chaos, and she typically always has her hand in some type of mess, or she is the one orchestrating said mess. So it would, I would be remiss to say that she had nothing to do with it. Like, that's just way too coincidental, in my opinion. And then directly following that, we hear Deborah beelining it straight to Candace and, begins to poke and prod and ask, these questions. It just gives Ashley, you knew what was up. You knew what was up when you invited Deborah there. And yeah, you can go ahead and say you don't have Candace at the forefront of your mind every time you're making a guest list. Okay, whatever. But being as though this was a major thing last season, how Deborah was coming after Candace, her husband, Eddie, like she had so much to say about a lot of your cast members and their husbands, you would just think that, there will be some type of consideration. There will be some type of something there. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you guys are doing life. This is a show, but everything is calculated. Everything is purposeful. Every meetup, every lunch, every coffee date, all of that stuff is done for a reason on this show. So when you are making a guest list for this type of event, you're not going to sit here and look me in my eyes and tell me that you didn't think for 2 seconds that something would potentially pop off with both Candace and Deborah being in the building. You can't tell me.
Like, I just feel like she's looking for any type of drama to make sure she secures her cherry blossom from one season to the next. So this season we see her go back and forth, toggling between I'm getting a divorce, I'm not getting a divorce, I'm getting a divorce, I'm not getting a divorce. Now you got the situation with Deborah. Now you have the situation with NECA and Wendy. You were not tired?
What I will say is that Ashley and Giselle really missed the mark with this one, especially when everybody is already looking at them super crazy for even wanting to do this whole thing in the first place, because neither of them give fashion, in my opinion. But it's just like, girl, you guys couldn't even release the collection in time for the season to wrap. You couldn't even release it in time for this particular episode to air with the whole fashion show and all of that. Like, completely missed the mark. And for someone like me, I take that really, really to heart, because I know so many other girls, guys, non-binaries, whatever. I know a whole bunch of people that would really enjoy being on this type of platform and being able to showcase their collections and are really, about it on the money. And it's like a lot of times we see these ladies on these platforms and they don't know what to do with their audience. They don't know what to do. They're not thinking.
But thank you so much for coming on to the Vulnerable Room. I really appreciate you coming and dropping your insight and some gems as well regarding this godforsaken season 8 of Potomac. Like, we had a very long season. We made it through. It's over. Now we're about to see them rebrand this show because it's at its wits end with this cast. So, but I thank you. No problem. Can you plug in your handles so people can find you?
Okay, so you all can find me at Barb Meets World on YouTube, and on that channel, I primarily focus on hot topics, trending topics. I focus on pop culture, reality TV, such as The Real Housewives, of course, and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely check me out on there. Over on Instagram and TikTok, I go by Barb Meets World _. And both of those platforms primarily showcase my fashion and beauty content. So if you're into those things, definitely follow me on both of those platforms. And then bringing it back on over to YouTube once more, I have another channel and it is called Barb Meets FBLE, and FBLE stands for Fashion, Beauty, Lifestyle, and etc. And it showcases exactly that with, some travel in there, vlogging, all things of that sort. It's a bit more personal about my daily life and all of that. So definitely check me out over there as well if you are interested.
I didn't even know about that until like we were, exchanging information. And I was like, oh, okay, let me go subscribe, support.
I also have a Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And my name is Barb Meets World there, of course, as well. So also follow me on there.
No problem. Thank you again. Bye.